I've always loved playing Pokemon, however, I've always been a heavily casual player with the occasional Nuzlocke run here and there. So after watching more experienced players make attempts at much harder games, I decided to boot up a copy of my favorite Pokemon game and try to hardcore Nuzlocke it. And let me tell you how much of a mistake that was. When playing this game casually, you don't think about what is the most optimal move for this particular scenario. You just see a cool little guy and let the neurons fire on all cylinders. Anyways, let's see if this filthy casual player can beat a hardcore Nuzlocke on Pokémon Emerald. Before we start, let's hit the ground rules for a hardcore Nuzlocke. Here they are listed right here below. If you wish to read them, please pause the video to get a better understanding. And with that out of the way, let's start this journey together. Chapter 1. Humble Beginnings. We start our journey like any other, in the back of a moving truck, because that is much safer than sitting in the front seat. After talking to our rival, we set out to get our first Pokemon. Now this is where the divide between a casual player and a Nuzlocke player begins. You see, the starter in this game is heavily one-sided, with Mudkip being the obvious best choice for almost the entire game. So at this moment, I chose the best option, Trico, because my neurons fired immediately when I first saw him. After progressing through the beginning routes, we capture a Wurmple, Meryl, and Tailo. Now, I would normally never use a Wurmple and always avoid it, but this run has made me realize the potential a lot of these more obscure mons have. We make it to the first gym with no deaths and sweep the gym with Oofduna the Meryl. I decided to name my Pokemon by the names of Monster Hunter monsters since I was playing Wild at the time, so I figured it'd be a fun little touch. After beating Roxanne and some other trainers along the way, we returned some old guy Squirrel so he can let us ride the boat to the next town of Dewford. Here, we catch Legendaries the Magikarp, Gossarog the Makuhita, and made our way to the gym against Brawly. Now this gym was a joke for our Beautifly, which is kind of a weird statement to say out loud since I never thought Beautifly was a good Pokemon, but oh my god, this Vespiquen swept through his gym like nothing. After scarring Brawly and probably having him wake up in a cold sweat for the next 10 years every time he sees a Beautifly, we continue onwards to Slayport and fight our rival. After a bit of struggle, we somehow pulled through with the help of Jagras the Zigzagoon, Valstrax the Tailo, and Legiacris. We had our sights set on the next gym, Watson. But first we gotta beat up this loser at the front door to get inside, and I only now realized that for Watson's gym, you only need to fight one trainer and the puzzle's done. When I was a kid, I went through the whole thing and fought everyone because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. Anyways, we set up for Watson, and by set up, I mean I just walked in with the team and hope for the best. We lead off with Lanoon against the exploding Voltorb and barely live. We switch out to Monoblos the Loudred, who took down Watson's Electrike, and now I have to deal with his Magneton. So I do the logical move and send out Hariyama to deal with it, who then proceeds to get paralyzed, confused, and then dies to a Shockwave. The first death of the run. At this moment, it sets in, and I made a vow to try my best to keep more Mons alive. After this gym, we wipe off the blood that Watson gave us and continue through the story, seeing Professor Cosmo talk to some eco-warriors about how they want to steal a meteor from the top of a mountain. So we head up there because I'm a visual learner and I wanted to see the space rock for myself. I then see the eco-warriors are fighting for this rock only for a 10-year-old to come in and ruin their plans. We fight Maxie and we beat him with little to no trouble thanks to Legiacris. You may have noticed that there's been a lack of mention of the starter. That is because I didn't really use him for most of the fight since he doesn't really match well against these battles, especially not the next gym with Flannery and her fire type. After boxing the starter, I used the all-reliable duo of Valstrax and Legiacris to secure the W against Flannery, to which we are then immediately thrown to the 5th gym against our father Norman, which I had no plan against. I just walked in thinking Legiacris and Valstrax could do their thing and just take care of him. Surely nothing bad is gonna happen. Before the battle, I have Valstrax get burned to trigger its Guts ability and we send it in against Spinda. We take down the Spinda and in comes Vigoroth. Scared of losing Valstrax, I switch in Legiacris to take care of her, and it does, but it took some damage along the way. Lanoon comes in and immediately belly drums and heals to eventually kill our Legiacris. A valiant soldier taken down, so I send in his other duo, Valstrax, which for some reason I switch it immediately for New Udra the Tentacruel, who takes like 80% of damage, gets the poison proc, and we just have Azumarill take care of the rest. I don't know what was happening there. With the fishing complete, we're basically halfway done with the game and I'm feeling confident despite some losses. I take a peek at Winona's level cap at 33 and I start to think about what's coming up, such as the Weather Institute, the rival battle, and maybe a random battle here and there. At this point, I thought that the cap was too low for what I was going to be coming across. So I decided the best thing to do would be swap my entire team and bring them under cap. Surely this is the most optimal play. I make my way through the route and I accidentally hit a trainer with a singular Breloom. Now it's just a Breloom, this should be fine for my sweat. Oh, right. I mean, it's fine, it's just a Breloom.
Oh no.
So yeah, I just got swept by an optional Breloom. I lost my mind when this happened. I'm like, how can I let such a thing happen? At this point, I start to think that, you know what? It's my first attempt. I am gonna make some mistakes. So I get back on that horse and I get ready for run number 2. Chapter 2, The Long Haul. Run 2 went very well. It showed me the power of Mudkip and all the battles that are trivialized by its water-ground typing. We easily make it back to where we left off and take on the Weather Institute with no problem. We got the Castform whose only purpose is to give us the Mystic Water, then to be left in the box for all eternity. We proceed through Wynona's gym to fight the leader herself. We knock out the Swablu and Altaria immediately comes in. At this moment, I start to understand what the AI is programmed to do in this gen a bit better, so that's very useful to know. After a hard-fought battle, we got the gym badge, and we progress through the route to make our way to Mount Pyre. We fight our way through and make it to the top of Mount Pyre, in which I catch a Shuppet. Now, after capturing this Shuppet, I realize the importance of looking at routes ahead of time to see what mons I can dupe to get the one I want. You see, the way that Dupe's Clause works is that if I capture a Pokemon in a previous route, and I run into it again in another route, I can re-roll that encounter for a new one. So in this scenario, I could have went to the south of Mount Pyre or the route above to guarantee myself a Duskull encounter at Mount Pyre. Definitely something I'll remember for future runs. After saving his old couple, we make our way through the magma base to fight Maxie, which was an easy fight for Swampert and Gyarados. After Maxie, we see Team Aqua was making waves in Slayport and we try to shut that down to no avail. So we chase into Lily Cove to their base. I sync their plans with relative ease and now we trek to Moss Deep, where a new problem arises. See, I don't have many good answers to Tane and Liza. I spent like 5 minutes deciding on what to do, and my best answer was to explode with Electrode and hope for the best. The battle starts, I explode, nothing dies. Banette dies soon after along with Camerupt and Sharpedo. I eventually win by spamming Surf and Dragon Rage towards the end. Luckily, I made it through. Badge 7 is acquired with some blood on our hands. We dust ourselves off and see that Team Magma is trying to take over space? I mean, if you really think about it, if they take over the moon, that controls the tides in our world, so that's an insane strat if that's the case. Either way, they were here and up to no good, so me and Steven took care of business. Now Team Aqua's up to no good, so we have to stop them with no problem. But now that both Groudon and Kyogre are up, they immediately start fighting about whose turn is it on the Xbox. And I inevitably wake up Rayquaza to stop them both, because I don't want to deal with them. Now with the two leaders both apologizing, we now get to fight Juan. The battle was no problem until we got to Kingdra, which was a bit of a slog spamming Double Team. Luckily I had Mud stall it until it fainted with Toxic, and we acquired the 8th badge. I knew what I had to do as soon as I got this 8th badge. After getting the moves I wanted, we make our way to Evergrande City, where I caught my final mon, Aggron, which died to Wally 1 minute later from a Magnapole Magneton. Could have used that, but whatever I guess. After spelunking through the victory road, we made it to the end where I built my final team. I ran the iconic route from Verdant Turfs to 118 to get my friendship up from Golbat, and wasted over an hour trying to find a Feebas, only to evolve it and not use it. With the final team of Crobat, Hariyama, Ludicolo, Walrein, Muck, and Swampert, we are ready to take on the league. Ignore the death counter, it got reset when I ended stream one day, I just didn't notice. Sydney was no problem against her Hariyama and was an easy win for us. Now Phoebe was up next, which I had no solid answer for, so I sent in Muck, who I completely forgot that Ghost resisted poison and Muck went down due to curse and confusion hits. Swampert came in and used Earthquakes and Surf to clinch the win, and now Glacial was up next. This was an easy battle for Hariyama until we got to Walrein, where this happened. Oh my... I meant to hit Vital Throat. This is a big turn to fuck up already. That was a big turn. I clicked fake out on accident, and this led me to having to work around this huge mistake. In hindsight, I could have sacked it, but I sent out Swampert, who got hit with a crit surf and outsped, and got hit with another crit, and died. Then, Hariyama falls, leaving it up to Ludicolo to finish the job. I'm only left with Ludicolo, Crobat, and Walrein against Drake and the champion. Things are not looking good. Luckily, Drake was the easiest member since all I did was spam Ice Beam and win. Now, only one more battle stood before us, the champion. Despite the odds, I knew I somehow could win. I believed in my team. We overcame all these struggles together and pulled through. I know this is one battle I can win. This broke me. I was at the end. I was at the peak, but I fell. But the funny thing is about falling, once you fall, you get right back up and start again. Chapter 3. Getting Back Up. I continue to make attempts at this game since I was determined to get a run completed no matter what. I was committed to getting better. On attempt 3, I learned a few new things to help me. I learned to delay Lotad's evolution so I can get Mega Drain from level up. I also learned that setting up status conditions for Guts boosted Swellow could take on some battles that I don't really have a good answer for, and also using Dupe Claws to my advantage. The run was looking good until I reached Tate and Liza, where I fell short of the run since I didn't teach my pull-up for Surf and let Xatu set up Calm Minds. However, I did learn that Claydol would spam Earthquake, so I remember that one for future attempts. Attempt 4 was a very promising run. A lot of the fights went our way, and so did the encounters. I beat Tate and Liza with an exploding Dusclops and Electro lead, which also surprisingly Atropius led a good amount of help as well. This run showed some promise, however when we got to Juan, his Kingdra set up way too many double teams. I kept heal spamming, and we eventually lost here. Attempt 5 felt like a fever dream. I had very good mons at my disposal: Walrein, Aggron, Swampert, Wailord, Ludicolo, and Salamence. Luckily, I remembered to delay my encounter on Meteor Falls and got lucky on the 50-50 roll for Bagon and Solrock. Now, on paper, this team should win, right? At this point, I understood how the AI should function, what switches were coming in, what moves were going to be used, and I used that to my knowledge to make more careful reads. I beat it stalling Milotic, and we were down up to 2 mons, Wishcash and Gyarados. Wishcash went down no problem, but the Gyarados set up 2 Dragon Dances and killed most of my team. It was down to a 1v1, Salamence versus Gyarados. It's over. Literally at the last mon. Literally at the last mon. Salamence loses the 1v1, and now we start attempt 6. Attempt 6 had nothing notable, but I did crash out when I lost my Marshtomp to a Lanoon at the 5th gym, and I decided to end the run there. I was having doubts about this game. I thought I was getting better, but I lost at the 5th gym, which was my earliest wipe in all the runs I've had. I started to question if I was getting lucky in my runs. This was truly getting to me. I had questions about my ability. Despite this, I just refocused, got back up, and decided to lock in. Chapter 4. Making Miracles. Attempt 7 felt as if everything I learned up to this point was finally coming into fruition. The tactics I learned from previous attempts were passed down to me, similar to how Ankrom Avatar could speak to other avatars for advice. I knew that in my heart of hearts, this was the one. The early game was a breeze. Roxanne swept by Mudkip, Raleigh swept by Taillow and Dustox, Watson by Marshtomp, Flannery by Marshtomp and Gyarados, and finally Norman thanks to a team effort. This far in the run I had 4 deaths, however I still felt confident I could make it through since the core of my team was really strong. I make it through the route and I lose 4 more Mons, but now this is where the run becomes a bit more interesting. You see, I caught a Wobbuffet at the Safari Zone alongside a Duskull, which will both play a crucial role momentarily. And by momentarily, I mean right now, because I make it to Tate and Liza, which is one of my biggest run killers, and oh my god, I had the easiest time with this team up of Wobbuffet and Dusclops, tanking hits and dealing absurd amount of damage in return, and sweeping the delinquent duo of Tate and Liza. Truly a shining moment in the run. The next wall for me was Juan and his annoying Kingdra. Luckily, I had a good core of Manectric, Electrode, and Blossom to help with this battle. I had a lot of reasons to switch in and was able to pivot effectively until his Kingdra came out a bit earlier than expected against my Machoke. I sent out Electrode to deal with it since he had Shockwave, however Juan just kept healing and stalling turns. I was left at a crossroads. Kingdra had a good amount of health left and Electrode was close to death. I had to make a choice, either go for the safe play and Shockwave for some damage, or go for more damage with the less accurate self-destruct. This lane in the run, I knew I had to make the more sensible play. It does at most, it does from 48 to 57% damage. So you know what? We let it ride. It missed. It missed. I'm not the most sensible person. I just picked a more funny play. Either way, Ludicolo came in and swept through everything else. In hindsight, I think Ludicolo could have just done it from the beginning, but that's neither here or there. The 8th badge was mine, and I was ready for Wally's ahead. I tried to get a Bagon, but I rolled a Solrock this time around. Luckily, I had a Trapinch in the back since I was able to guarantee it due to me getting a Sandshrew prior. I get the team ready for the Elite Four, hopefully for the final time. The team consisted of Andromon the Aggron, Submarimon the Swampert, Betamon the Ludicolo, Boltmon the Manectric, Hexablaumon the Walrein, and the Ghidramon the Flygon. And yes, these are named after Digimon because I had a stack of Digimon cards next to me. And now, hopefully, for the final time, I challenge the Elite Four. I take care of sitting with little to no problems, just making pivots and making sure everything is getting taken care of. Phoebe was up next, and after taking care of her first Dusclops, it was smooth sailing by just spamming Earthquakes and getting a clutch crit on the last Dusclops too. We move on to Glacia, which had me pivoting to try and get the best outcome. The strat was to spam Earthquake, then switch to Aggron to bring Walrein in, then safely bring in Ludicolo to take care of Walrein, then secure the win with Aggron against the Glalie. Drake was up next, but Walrein swept through the team, along with some help from Swampert at the end to finish the Dragon Master. We have made it back to Wallace, and with the full team, I am exuding confidence in this run. After all the struggles I faced, all the misplays I've made, I made it back to the peak of the mountain. I was not about to go back down that mountain and start again. This is ending here. We lead with Manectric and one-shot the Wailord. In comes in Gyarados, which is also one-shot by Manectric. Wishcash is sent in, predicting the Earthquake. I sent in Ludicolo to take care of it, who survived longer than expected, but we took care of it no problem. Tentacruel comes out, and I switch in Swampert on an incoming Sludge Bomb and a Hydro Pump. Then I one-shot it with an Earthquake. 2 Mons left, I still have a full team. Ludicolo comes out, and I switch in Manectric, predicting either Giga Drain or the Leech Seed. Ludicolo tries to set up double teams, but 2 Thunderbolts take it out. With only Milotic left, I see the finish line. I'll let the rest of the video play out from here. I just want you to experience my, at the moment, reaction to this, and how I felt throughout this whole journey. Now Ludi's on a timer. Damn, I didn't do that much. That's with the Miracle Seed. Oh yeah, there's not even the Marvel scale either. I am tempted to switch out Preserve Ludi, just in case I need to do another, because I guess I get it down to 1 HP again, and I could just sack something. What is this thing gonna do? Probably Ice Beam? I could just go into Wall Rain. It's the last mon. Like a big Giga Drain. I'm pretty sure this should hopefully kill me quick. We did it. We did it. Definitely, I was say definitely, but you just lost fucking my network. Never mind. It was over. All those runs, all the setbacks, all the strats I learned all come into fruition to help me finish a run. I honestly might have given up if I lost this run since I had everything in my favor. Luckily for me, the game was finished, and now I can move on to a different game and try my luck there. Wait, stop. Hold on, sorry. Now that should have been in the edit of the video, but I wanted to try something I've never done in general in Emerald before. You see, after you beat the game, you can actually battle Steven in Meteor Falls. I did not know about this until many years later, and I no longer had a copy of Emerald to do so. Since this was my first hardcore Nuzlocke, I decided to try this battle for the first time. So, I grabbed the gift, built him at Steven's house, leveled it up, and made my way to Meteor Falls to challenge the former champion of Hoenn, Steven. I lead off with Flygon and spam Flamethrower to take care of his Starmie, and then he sends in Aggron. Predicting his Dragon Claw, I switch in Walrein who gets a Quick Surf to one-shot it. I leave Walrein in to spam Surfs on a Claydol and KO it. Credilli comes out and I switch in Metagross predicting the Ancient Power. Metagross proceeds to knock it out with a Meteor Mash. Then Steven sends out his Metagross. I send out Flygon to avoid the Earthquake damage and counter with a Flamethrower. But it did less than half on the Metagross who got an attack boost from the Meteor Mash. I launched one more Flamethrower, but it did not pick up the KO, and I lose Flygon. I sent in Swampert to revenge kill with his own Earthquake, then Armaldo came in, but it could not take the tidal wave of Surfs coming in from Swampert, and I beat Steven. Surprisingly an easy fight in comparison to Wallace, but this battle was for fun, and I hope another optional battle will go easier for me as well, but we'll have to wait and see for that.